Hi guys, it's Nadine with Keep Hope Alive. Thank you for joining today. We have a special guest with us. Marie Miller is here with us today, and she's going to be talking about a lot of stuff, everything from healing and ooh, boo boo boo. I know you've seen some ghosts in your past, but this is going to be an exciting show. But first, I wanted to give an update about Keep Hope Alive podcast. We are getting many more people coming in to be a guest speaker, and we are growing. Remember, with every podcast, you can call our guest at 833-780-HOPE. If you have any questions for her, leave us a message and we will answer those questions for you. Definitely, really quick, I have a question for you. Do you know who Life on Record is?
I am unfamiliar.
You're unfamiliar? Okay, well, how
No.
many weddings have you been to? I don't know, out of your
5.
life, out of the past 5 years.
Maybe 4 or 5.
4 or 5. Okay. So usually with Life on Record, they made the whole guest book signing different these days. They now have it as a vintage phone. So you can go in there, pick up the phone, and you can leave like either a 5 minute, 1 minute, or even 30-minute message. Congratulations. I'm so happy for the both of you, getting married and doing this and everything. But it's so cool because they will take all these messages and they also give the guest an opportunity to do it afterwards with a QR code that you can scan. So I guess like on the way home, driving home, you can leave that message too, or do it the next day. They get to hold on to this answering service for 1 year, which is really cool. And once all the messages are done, they burn it on a 12-inch vinyl record, or what they have is like this little boom box. So when you're like, I guess it doesn't have to be a year, but just whenever you can pull it out and hear your friends and family voices congratulating you. And I think that is actually a better way because I look at it, my friend just passed. What I would do to hear her voice again, and that's how I look at it. I would love to have the voices and the memories and hear that congratulations or whatever they would like to say. But all plans start at $99, and you can find them on www.keephope. Wait, sorry. www.lifeonrecord.com. So Marie Miller is with us, and she's a healing instructor and practitioner, which is really cool. Tell me a little bit about that. What made you want to become this healing? Is it a passion of yours that you had going into it?
It's a lot of things. Going back as a kid in high school, I really wanted to be a virologist because I wanted to help people. I thought viruses were fun. But Western medicine and I don't get along so well. I have a lot of allergies. Like, I love them for surgeries and certain things, but I realized that that was not the path that I would really be happiest in. But I still wanted to help
Gotcha.
people. And I went into theater for a while because I'm like, what else am I going to do till I figure out my thing? And when I moved to San Diego, I was having daily migraines and I didn't know what to do about them. And I didn't just want to take pills to shut them down. And I ended up getting theta healing sessions and nutrition advice from this couple. And within 3 months, I was completely healed. And I'm like, this is the
Wow.
thing that I've been looking for. And that's when I became a theta healing practitioner.
Nice. I mean, that's probably what I need. I was just recently in the hospital for a stroke, and I can see it when I talk into my videos that my eye is a little down and my mouth. But like the other thing is constant headaches. So, yeah, they're no fun to go through. And unfortunately, it's weird because I've always taken a leave, but I'm not a Tylenol girl, but something was making me go and pick up Tylenol, see if that would help. But it was amazing, actually having a stroke. I hate to say it was amazing, but they gave me the chewable little Tylenols, and I did that, and my eye was able to open a little bit more. And I was like telling the hospital, "Okay, I'm all better. Time to go." And they're like, "Not a chance." So I was there for like a day and a half, and they had to run all these tests and everything. But so, long story short, but that is interesting. So to go in there and help others. So you're coaching them. I mean, how many like chronic pain clients may you have?
It depends. It varies, just depending on the season. Because when I teach a lot during certain times of the year, I don't have as much time for one-on-one clients.
Yeah.
Um, But I have a few. I mean, the things that I work on for people physically varies. I've worked on like restoring people's brain when they've lost 80% of their brain function. I've worked on regrowing nerves. I've helped people heal their cancer, all sorts of things. I've worked on arteries too, because it really comes down to, we are a representation of what our bodies believe. And if we can just find that belief that is making our body misbehave and can release it, then the body can heal naturally.
I need to like hire you right now. Wow. Like this is amazing. So the nerve relief too. I was like, dude, I mean, there's things when your body will just shoot off signals, is what I say. And they work with the nerves, but like, I don't know how many people have this, but I just got diagnosed with neuralgia paresthesia. I hope I said it right. But it's a nerve that controls my whole left leg. So
Mm-hmm.
they did a stimulator on my back, HFX. I gotta talk bad about it, but it's just not working for me. So I feel like I'm just this robot. I have to charge myself. But it's supposed to go in there and work with the nerves so I get that feeling back and come back to the old me and become a new me.
Mhm.
So,
Well, nerves are
yeah.
fascinating. Nerves are one of there's about four systems in our body that deal with different levels of communication. And if
Hmm.
you think about it, nerves are all about communication, especially communication, internal communication. Like, what do you say to yourself? What's your internal self-talk?
Oh, interesting. Okay. But
And
is it really like mind over matter sometimes when it
well,
comes to
yeah,
sorry, throwing all these
ideally,
questions at
no,
you.
you're perfect. It's great. I was just gonna say, like, sometimes we need to go a little level deeper because sometimes you, Nadine, like your beliefs may be really clear and beautiful, but there's an ancestor like 6 generations back who's actually the cause of the problem. And so these beliefs, I know it's annoying, right? But these beliefs get passed down. And even if we're clear, because that's why we see disease in kids, it's not because of, their beliefs, it's what they've
Yeah.
inherited. And it's interplay between the different generations that will cause that. And so sometimes the deepest healings I've gotten on myself have been not when have been after I've cleared myself and then go talk to ancestors.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, and then you find the root, right? The
Yep,
root of where it's coming from, and you're able to just kind of focus on that. Do you do a lot of meditation? Does that help you?
I do. And I have a few different types of meditation because I know not everybody wants to sit really still and try to quiet their mind because they get bored. That can be a hard way to do it. I know people who love Joe Dispenza, but honestly, my mind wanders. And for
Mhm.
me, some of the best meditations have been more active meditations. So
Okay.
while you're walking or while you're moving or while there's things that you're doing, I know for some people, literally crocheting, if you don't have to follow the pattern and you're just doing something straight, it can be a meditation because the whole point of meditation is to clear your mind and relax it and to bring that stress away.
Yeah, so I used to paint with my ex, and we still are good friends, and we'll talk. And when I went into the hospital, he's like, "You know what you need to do? You just need to paint." And I was like, "I actually agree with that. I want to come and paint again because I could just be quiet and it's a healing time. And back in the day, I used to color, so that was fun. And then I started journaling. That was always like, and I feel like I want to start journaling again because if I put it, it's the weirdest thing, but if I put it on paper, I actually start doing better, I noticed. And I don't know if it's really going to take a doctor these days because I'm a mystery. I mean, heck, I have no ovaries and had a full hysterectomy, and they come in, congratulations. I'm like, I'm what? They're like, wait, you're pregnant. And I'm like, where? I haven't done anything. How am I pregnant? So it's one of those things. It's just, I'll stay a mystery and I just got to learn to accept that. But I feel like if I learn what you actually teach, it's going to help me even more in the long run.
Absolutely.
So,
Mhm.
yeah. And then I know a lot of people get opinionated on chiropractor stuff, but they have been the ones to actually find the real root of the problem. And then I can take it to a doctor and go, see, they did it. They actually found it. So, but
I'm with you on the chiropractor thing because I've there's been like I remember I spent like thousands of dollars in copay through my this one system in California. I found the right chiropractor who found the problem in 15 minutes. I'm like,
isn't that crazy?
oh
I just don't understand it. Like I had the worst time with my back many years ago. And I was at a CBD store, and he's like, hey, I want you to go visit this chiropractor. She's far away, but she's going to do good and tell you what it is. And she did. And I was able to go to a back surgeon and go,
no.
here's my x-ray. And they looked at it because they told me beforehand they were booked up for months. And then they looked at it and go, yeah, we'll get you in today. I was like, all right, okay. So they're seeing this as an emergency now.
Absolutely.
But definitely. Now also it talks about you talked about having near death experience. Was it just one or did you have any multiple ones?
Just the one, but it was a big one. And honestly, I was so young that I don't have conscious memories of it the way other people do. I didn't even know that it had happened until my mom was giving her first sermon. And then I then went on a mission of uncovering what happened and recollecting the memories through meditation and through hypnosis.
Hypnosis. Okay. Yeah, definitely. I'm like, what were those memories? I gotta ask.
It was interesting. So the story is, um, I was playing in the driveway. My mom was behind the garage shelling walnuts, and my dad was going somewhere. And I ended up under the car, um, got completely crushed because I remember because now that I've found the memories of like what it felt like to have everything get kind of smashed. I popped out of my body, which is why there aren't conscious memories of it. So I was seeing it from above. Mom had a flash from God and came and stopped the car before it got to my head. So she did save my life in that moment. Well, saved it from getting worse.
Yeah, yeah,
It was thrown into reverse, and and that's why there's still some damage. There was a little bit of damage on the right side of my body, but somewhere in that time, because when you're outside of your body or when you're in a delta brainwave, time kind of stops and things slow down.
yeah.
Or I might have been in a gamma, one of those two, right? But I was it was one of those brainwaves where your time slows down completely. And there was this decision, like, no, and a little bit of anger of F no, I'm not going out like this. I'm not done. Right. I got things I want to do. I got art I gotta create, right? Like I came here on purpose.
Yes.
And basically in a moment, my entire body, well, 90% of my body was healed, especially like all the chest cavity where the tire was resting. Like that basically came back. And then the only thing that happened later on is, there's some energy there that I cleared years later, but my right kidney was damaged. Other than that, my mom took me to the hospital. She's
Hmm.
terrified, right? And the doctors are like, you're overreacting. She's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with her. So they ran the tests because it's logical if a kid gets run
Yeah.
over by a car that something might happen, but nope,
What? Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Angels were really with you on that one. That's remarkable.
Yeah.
So I just don't see your mom did the right thing.
Did.
Like she's probably saying, no, I was there. I saw this happen to my daughter.
Mhm.
But if the doctors, I love how they check their little reports and go, oh, there's nothing wrong. It's like, there has to be something wrong. But that's good that you checked
Mhm.
out clear.
Yeah.
So, wow. So, I mean, also really quick, talking about because not everybody has these out of body experiences.
Mhm.
I grew up with epilepsy. I've had a few, but the one I remember the most was seizures. You kind of like get an aurora, so you know before it hits. And I being at Macy's wanted to run and hide because I don't want people to see me have a seizure, but I went into the bathroom and in a stall. But I guess I fell and hit the toilet also going down.
Mhm.
I was outside of my body watching our loss prevention security officer. She had me up against the bathroom. Don't die. And I'm like, I'm right here. Stop hitting my face. And I was like, why can't she hear me? I'm here. And I was like, well, why can't I see me? And I was like, oh boy. But it felt like time did stop. You're right on that. I couldn't get back in soon enough, but I eventually did. Back and forth, back and forth. And finally, when they got me to the hospital, I ended up calling. I go, can I stay on the clock? And she's like, I didn't know you're gone. You're at the hospital. You can't stay on the clock. But it was just, I think it's when you're in and out and you see these things, it's hard to explain to somebody else because you're not like going right away to heaven. You kind of get to make a decision. Did you feel that way? You had a decision to make?
Yeah, I did. I felt like it was my decision to make. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't like I was told, like I chose.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
I know some people who've been told, but yeah.
That's weird. I mean, the saying, that they've been told and everything, because I know with all mine uh, that I had, my last big one was a seizure. And I remember naming my kids full names. No, I'm here on this earth for blah, 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 and blah, 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 blah. I am not ready to go. And then boom. It's weird because I know for me, I can feel myself hit back in my body and sit
Mhm.
up, be like, where am I? Like, and that happened as a young kid too.
Mhm.
When my parent said I had a seizure. So that's like, yeah, 3 times. It's not fun, but it's eye-opening. Now, you started to be able to see things other people couldn't see, correct? After this.
Yeah, I started seeing ghosts right after that. And I didn't even realize I was seeing ghosts. I was just talking to my grandmother, who I didn't remember had like died a couple years before. And that was just one of my friends. And like I just knew who in town was gonna die next. Like I was just had this deeper connection to death and like super comfortable with ghosts. And the beautiful thing is my mom, when I'd be like, oh, I think so and so died, and I would know before anyone and I had no way of knowing, she's like, uh-huh, right? Instead of
Yeah.
freaking out like some parents would do when your kid says
Yeah.
that. But what it was a recognition in her. She's like, my daughter is like me in some way. She's gifted, and I don't know what to do about it. And she then proceeded to get me all the young adult books she could possibly find on different topics that seemed to be kind of related to what I was going through and just put them in front of
Yeah.
me.
That's actually a good mom right there.
She's
It's
a great
so
mom.
good, good when they can understand
Mhm.
what their children, because when we come out and talk to our parents, like this and this and this happened. Yeah,
Mhm.
for me, I'm different than my mom. So I feel like she's not really hearing me, but I need her to really hear me because
Mhm.
these are the things that I have to get through and go through this challenge and learn from it. And I just need to hear, okay, I understand. And Is there anything I can do to help? I mean, that would be perfect in my book. But you get in the books and everything, that's good too. And I mean, these days it's audible for me. I'll just listen to the books and everything, and it feels like I'm getting that information also. So, and then of course YouTube. So, but yeah, definitely. Other than, were you getting any spirits that you didn't know that were wanting to talk to you? And
It didn't become intrusive until I was doing theater in San Diego.
okay,
That's when, so before it was just friendly ghosts and nice ghosts, but I did reach a point, and I think we all reach a point in our spiritual evolution where we have to deal with ghosts because they're a part, of the ecosystem
yes.
that we live in, where they got kind of nasty for a while and I required additional training. And then once I got through that, then it became like a professional ghostbuster for a while,
Yay!
which is
I have
fun.
Ghostbuster pajamas, onesies, and I'm like, what was it, Luigi's Mansion when that came out on GameCube? I was like, I have to get that. Like, the stupid video games caused me seizures, but I kept playing. I wanted to play and play. If my brother can save the princess on Mario Brothers at a young age, why couldn't I kill all the ghosts? Suck them up in the vacuum, and I finally, yeah, I got through it and I was like, I actually, did this on this game and passed it. And I've never done that before. But yeah, so I mean, but as a Ghostbuster, yeah, those are different things and the messages that probably come through to you. Did you take what you've learned with that and like, do you do tarot cards or what do you?
Well, no, I mean, when it comes to talking to ghosts, like what I'll do is I normally send them up first and converse with them. So I do get messages when I'm working with clients all the time. So I am a
Okay.
medium, so I can talk to people's loved ones. But
Okay.
the tarot cards came from a different source. I ended
Okay.
up in college being a shaman's apprentice. So I studied Astro and Nordic shamanism. And
Okay, gotcha.
tarot cards and runes were just a part of my training, but I love my tarot cards and runes. They're so much fun to play with.
Good. Good, good, good. Those are, I've never heard runes, so how is that different from tarot or are they same?
Oh, they're different energies. They're different backgrounds. I mean, people, there's a little bit of mystery and some controversy on where tarot actually comes from because they're that ancient. Runes, we know where they came from, and they came from the Teutons, which is like, Germany now. So it was like
Yeah.
rooted in that region, but it spread all over. So it got into definitely the UK. You're going to have like your own runic traditions. There's an Icelandic tradition and a Norwegian tradition, um, or a Nordic tradition around them, and they have like different
Okay.
poems for each tradition of runes. So runes are basically 24 or 25 different symbols or tiles that have
Okay.
a divinatory meaning, like an energetic meaning and a connection to the body. And then they're also a letter of the alphabet.
Hmm. Interesting.
So the Vikings use them last. So if you see like anything where there's that lettering or like the scrolling that they use, that's gonna be the runes. So they can actually
Okay.
be read as a language.
Interesting.
And they have different deeper meanings.
Gotcha. Okay. I just know like I'm always seeing a cluster of numbers at random times. Like, and sometimes I need to see the 222 or 1111. It's like, oh, good. Why am I catching it at this time? It's like I remember I think 222, I looked it up yesterday. It's like learning patience and just
Mhm.
accepting how things are. And I was like, okay, well, I feel like this year I've already learned that lessons, but because of a series of events that just happened, I think it's my angels trying to tell me, now I gotta go back to patience and learn it all over again.
Well, the fun thing about virtues is like patience being one of the virtues, right? In theta healing, we work with like a different list of virtues because when you have attained certain virtues, you can do different things, right? Like
Hmm.
you can talk to the weather or change things or talk to animals or heal because of the virtues that you embody.
Yeah.
but there is like what us humans perceive as a level of knowing of a virtue. And then there's
Yeah.
all these other deeper, deeper, deeper levels.
Oh,
So while
wow.
you may think you understand on a human level what patience is, the universe is like, well, there's
I
more.
don't
There's
really know.
options. And
Mine
it,
had to come through dating, like just be patient for the right man. And, it's funny because in my past, I would date people, but they were always turned into a long-term relationship right away. But I think now that I'm older, I kind of fear from that. And I'm just like, no, I'm still learning myself at the same time. If I do want to settle down and get to know somebody, it's a lot of energy. I don't want to call it a job, but you got to stop and you got to refocus on you and how to make this work and how it fits into your daily life and
Mhm.
and then letting your guard down. I've learned my lesson once again. So I have to go back to learning how to be there and love myself. And my last guest, she said something that was amazing because it keeps running through my head. Would you date yourself? My answer is always yes. Like, yeah, I think I'm fun, a free spirit, I like to meet new people, I like to laugh. And then when I was talking to somebody else, I asked that same question, and they're like, oh no, I'm a hot mess. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I guess everybody's story is a little bit different. So,
I mean,
but have you ever asked yourself that question
I
though?
have, and the answer is I need someone to be my rock because I am the adventurous one. So no, because I've dated someone who's the same level of like, let's do create things, and like it's just too much energy.
Oh
So as
yeah.
far as like my kindness and a lot of my virtues, I would, but personality wise, I definitely need someone to balance me out.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
And
Yeah.
so my boo is really great because he's willing to do things, but I'm the one who gets to come up with all the crazy ideas. And he's like, I'll support you in that idea. Let's do the thing. As opposed to
That's
both of us
cool.
having all the, I mean, not that he doesn't have ideas. He does have ideas and I support them, but like I'm usually the one like, oh my God, let's go to Nepal next month, right? And I'm the one leading the charge. And that way, but he balances me because I need to have that stability.
That's really, really good, to have that. And, I like to hear people's stories because I'm a certified event planner and I do weddings. How'd you guys meet?
So so it's there's two times, right? Like we actually met in high school. He's like I saw him shirtless jumping on a trampoline in my friend's backyard. He had blonde hair down to his waist. He was a total goth boy because this was the 90s. I fell madly in love in that instant. We were he was a senior and I was a freshman, and we ended up having study hall together. And I only took study hall because mom said I needed one because I was trying to do too much. So thank you, mom, again. And I would come up and say, hey, Jason, every day. I'd flirt with him every single day. And he wasn't getting the clue. And then finally, my best friend was dating his best friend. And so Angie made Steve tell Jason that he's an idiot and he needs to call me. And we dated for a little bit. And then he started to fall in love with me, and I freaked out like I do and dumped him, which is a pattern that I had of once someone was starting to fall
Uh,
in love with me, I'd be like, oh my God, love, freak out and like break up for very logical reasons. And he got married pretty quickly, which started that whole pattern of, you know, I fix them so that they can meet their soulmate, which is a story I had for years. And then,
I feel like I did the same exact thing. Anybody, I've seen this 7 or 8 times. They go on a date with me or they were trying to see. It could be a 6 month relationship and it doesn't work, or it could be a few weeks. It has always been the next person they dated, they got married. I
yep.
don't get it. I was like,
So
well, don't worry if it doesn't work out between us, the next one will. It's like I just see it all the time. And doesn't mean ask me on a date, world. It's not gonna
no,
happen.
it doesn't work for everybody, right? Like for me, it was only like six people did that. which still hurts. It's still a lot. And then when I was like in meditation, I'm like, okay, universe, what is going on? Like, I am over
Yes.
this.
Yes,
And I
yes.
was in a place to like really work on myself and heal to finally, find my soulmate. And I got this very clear message, Marie, they were all your soulmates. They were ready to marry you, and you're the one that decided not to. But I'll keep sending you more until you figure it out. But that was I'm like, what? So all these years of being mad and being like, God, where's my soulmate? I'm like, oops, okay.
Yeah,
And
it's
then,
I like how you said that because it's like when I talk to God, I will do a prayer and it's like, dear God, I'm grateful for this. But then there's sometimes I'm like, hey God, what's up? We got an issue here. I need you to take the wheel or figure this out. Help me figure it out. Show me a sign or something. What am I doing wrong? Like, so, and then it could be days, months pass,
Mhm,
and there's always like a little clearing for me, like, oh, that was it. So I kind of learn it that way too. But
right.
at the same time, with this podcast, I love talking to new people and learning new things. And that has been my true calling too. So, I just, that's helped, whether I'm moving on, people will look at it, oh, Nadine, you're doing too much. No, I'm not. I'm just talking at the end of the day, like if I was going out to hang out with friends, it's just online. So,
Well, and I honestly believe when you're doing things that are your passion, that you really love, if it's giving you energy back, then you're not doing too much. You're just living a full life.
exactly, exactly. So that's what I think too. And, it's just one of those things where, how do I put this? I do have a full-time job. I love it. I actually, when they put me in the hospital for my stroke or whatever they're calling it these days, they're like, yeah, you might want to stop doing it. And I'm like, okay, what do you want me to do? Just sit in bed and do nothing? Like, what am I supposed to do? Watch TV? I'm still gonna want to talk, so I can't just stop and turn off a passion when you have it.
Mhm.
It's also like photography for me. If I get a gig to do, I'm gonna do it 100% because I love it. I love taking pictures, getting them edited, seeing people happy. It's a good energy base. So,
Mhm.
but yeah. So you said also pets. You,
Yep,
I think you read pets or help them out too.
I do. Do you want to hear how the rest of the story though? Because we
Oh,
were
sure.
apart
I'm
for
sorry.
years.
I'm sorry. It's like
Welcome
squirrel.
back to
Yes,
pet.
go back. Yep.
No, no. So I did the healing, and like one day I'm randomly scrolling through Facebook, and I see a picture of him, like
Yeah.
in San Diego in front of this boat on a run. I'm like, hey, stranger dude from high school, I assumed he
Oh,
was still married. I'm like, hey, do you want to just grab some coffee and catch up? Because I just love connecting with, people from my past to see what's different.
yeah.
And he came to, I was managing a gallery at the time and he came to the show and we bailed pretty early and just, turns out he was single. And that was it. That was it. Like we just, I got him to skip most of his conference and we just hung out for 3 days. And yeah, eventually, like I moved to Ohio. But part of it, and it was
Wow.
so cool because I'm like, oh, I got it right the first time. And there was like this, it really helped my ego to figure out that, like,
I
yeah,
love that. That's good. Yeah,
yeah,
when you have that connection and you feel like you can move forward each day, each day. So it's good. I love to hear that. And then did you guys get married right away or was it you waited a year?
we waited a while, yeah,
Yeah.
before we committed, yeah. We had some
Yeah.
things to work out definitely because we were both healing, right? We both have been
Yes.
similar experiences with the people that didn't work out for us. And also, I was in California, he was in Ohio, and we had to
Yeah.
decide who was going to move where when. So I had to heal because I did not want to move from another man again, and I was being stubborn until I realized it was the best thing for me. So,
Yes.
but it's great. We just keep discovering how perfect we are for each other.
Good, and that's what it should be, like
Yeah.
on a day to day, encouraging words and learning each other every day. and having a good set communication base. So, learning everything. So I always say, with when I meet my soulmate, I want like our first date to be a first date like all the time. And I just heard a dad joke and I put on my Facebook. My wife said she wanted to go back to the first date feeling,
Yeah.
so I took her to movies, dinner, and dropped her off at her parents. And I'm like, oh, that's funny. She wanted that first date. She got it. She probably didn't like the parents thing. So, but congratulations to
Thank you.
you. And so you've been married how long? I'm so sorry. How many years has it been?
Well, we actually haven't officially gotten married yet.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
we
we
can
just,
help you plan.
we plan. Yeah. We have been together. I've lived here for 4 years now. So we were together for a year and a half before I moved out.
Good, 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 good. Okay. Well, that's cool. And then I bet it was hard before you actually moved out there and everything. Do you like it out there more than California?
Well, this is where I met him. He never moved. So I was in
Yeah,
California for 13 years on my own and well, with friends, but like
yeah.
I'm really happy to be back in Ohio because I like having four seasons. I like having the rhythm.
Oh,
For me, it's kind of, I like being in tune with the seasons spiritually. It's sort of part of my practice to have like the active time, the harvest, the intellectual time, and then ramping back up. I like going through those cycles.
that's cool. Yeah. I definitely like seeing the four seasons. Texas is pretty messed up. I call Texas bipolar. It could be like 80 degrees in a December and then drop down to 20 degrees for the high the next day. It's like, no wonder we're all getting sick. But but definitely now, okay, let's get you the pets right now. I'm gonna hear about this. I got two doggies.
Well, what I love about it is I actually used to be afraid of dogs. So it was actually really healing for me to discover this. And the whole thing came about when I'd been reading. I had this tarot client who came every month to this event and always got a reading from me, sometimes both days that I was there. Emailed me in the middle of the night, my dog is really sick. I know you can do it. Please talk to her. Tell me what to do. Because she didn't know if she was going to take her to the vet and spend the money and go through that process, or if the
Yeah.
poor thing was just going to pass on its own. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to let my client down. I'd better at least, I'm like, I wrote back, I will try. I'll get back to you in a little bit. And so I tried. And I just went into a meditation, connected with this sweet little puppy. And the message I got was, please don't let her worry. Don't fuss. Just snuggle me. I'm going to pass easily. Don't bother with the vet. And that's what I told her. And like, yeah, pretty much like by the next morning, the dog passed easily. And that's when I discovered I had a knack for it. So then I just, again, trained. So I pursued
Yeah,
training in it and kept doing it. And I really got to understand what dogs are like, which is amazing. And so I was
that's
able to
cool.
overcome the fear because I was bit like 5 times when I did door-to-door sales, which is a whole nother rabbit hole. But I just love the fact that when you're speaking with dogs, like they have such a beautiful energy and they're actually
Yeah.
really easy to get them to, I do a lot of behavior modification and I've
Hmm.
worked with a lot of rescue dogs. So I do a lot of trauma release from the dogs and then helping them fit into their new home. And then also
Oh,
letting
that's
them know
funny.
that it's safe to do things. Like I just helped a dog understand that when they're on a road trip, he should not be on the owner's lap while she's driving. He needs to be right next to her.
Yeah.
And that was a process, right? Because we had to work with the nervous system of the dog and heal that, understand what it was, help him understand what the vibrations were of the car, because that's what was setting him off a little bit. And also
Oh,
emotionally making sure, like when you travel that you're not that home is going to happen again and it's a pattern and it's temporary and there's quite a few
yeah.
different things to it and it's really it's so much fun.
That's cool. That's cool. I remember I had a dog that would always jump in my lap, and I'm like, no, no, you can't because I can't drive like this. And I'd be like, ah. But then they get scared, and my other dog will just do circles on the chair and just like lay down or jump on the bottom. And I'm like, okay, I'm okay with that, but I think it's great because I drive a Outback
Mhm.
Subaru, and their big thing is they love having pets. They
Mhm.
even have the carriers for them. They make sure the back of the
Mhm.
trunk area is good for them. They do a lot of stuff. And I was just like, okay. Have I ever had my dog in there? No. Not the trunk. It's like at the back. I don't want you to think it's like an open shut.
Yeah, no,
So, but yeah, so road trips and my dogs, I think my older dog, she would love to run away. Like not from me, but she's just a runner. You know what? That does sound like me. I'm a runner in relationships sometimes. But my other one, Gizmo, he's just like, I'll try to run, but I can't get that far. I thought I was going to have a really skinny Yorkie, but he looks like Garfield the cat. And snores loud. So but I think, learning about pets and when they can sense humans have pain. I notice my dogs know when I'm sad or feeling sick, they'll get closer to me, and I actually love it. And then I didn't train my other dog, but I had a seizure, and she came up, stayed by my side, and licked my eyes like
Mhm.
nonstop until I got out of it.
Well, so when a pet chooses us, right? Because there's
Hmm.
sometimes family pets, right? But even with a
Yeah.
family pet, they always belong to someone, right? And
Yeah.
basically, what happens is they tune into your energy, and like usually if they choose us, they came here to heal us. And like, yeah, and so they stay really tuned in to our emotions on a level that's kind of scary or actually really beautiful. Like my cat, when I first got her, before she was officially mine, but I was living with someone and I was a cat sitter, and there was three
Yeah.
cats. One like just sort of like clung on to me, which is why she's now.
Hmm.
But she would do a thing where, back then I used to have like depressive cycles happen every once in a while. And 2 days before I was about to go into a depression, she would be really clingy and she would sit on my lap and stare at me because she knew that in a couple of days, my chemicals were going to shift a little bit and I was going to go into that cycle and I needed to address it.
Wow, that's impressive. That's I wish my dogs actually did that for me. I haven't noticed it. Maybe
Mhm.
they are. So it's just, I think that dogs, I think there was an app that says change your dog's language to like English. And I'm like, no, I don't want to know what they're really saying,
Well,
even if it did work.
they don't actually talk in English sometimes. I know they have the buttons now and some of them are, but when you're communicating with them, a lot of times we're communicating through pictures and emotions.
Yeah, yeah,
So
definitely.
honestly,
Yeah.
like, yeah, sending them an image is a really good way to get across to them.
It's funny, like my son will like FaceTime me and stuff, but he'll show me the dogs, and I'm like, Abby, I'm coming home, and she's like, I know she can hear me, and then Gizmo's like, where is mom? Like looking for me, but they have me down to a T. They've memorized like Liam's school schedule, but
Mhm.
unfortunately, like when he has a break, they still want to get up at 5:30 and play, and I'm like. No, don't do this to me. I don't want to wake up this early. It's just like let mommy sleep in. But the best thing I ever used to own was that automatic dog feeder, and you can set it on the alarm and they just go out and do it on their own. But we had a doggy door that they were able to go in and out. That was the best thing ever. I was
Oh.
able to get the sleep I needed, but like in the long run, now that I don't, I feel safer opening the door, but then it's like, okay, let me make my coffee. I'm gonna play some Beat Stars or something, just kind of stay awake and see if I can fall back asleep. But definitely. So, what else? Like, as far as doing the pet, like, do you have a website? Can people call and hire you right away? And
Um, all of my myriad of services can be found at my website, houseofkellen.com. and
Okay.
that's Kellen. Yeah, because I do a lot of things. So basically, just
Okay.
push buttons until you find pet healing. But it's also on my
Yeah.
calendar. I usually book half an hour sessions for them because they don't need a lot. Unless you're going to have me work on a menagerie, which I have before, like
Okay.
we're going to check in with the bees and the birds and literally the rabbits and the cats and the dogs, but usually for one or two, one to two pets, a half an hour is plenty of time.
Yeah, definitely. Oh
Hmm.
my goodness.
Yeah.
So I keep going back to what you said, and just let her cuddle me. I'm gonna pass on my
Mhm.
own. I mean, I couldn't even imagine telling the owner that. That has to make you so strong to be able to.
Well, like I said, I've been since I've been around, had this connection to death and the fourth plane and the other realm for a long time. So this is
Hmm.
something that to me is it's really about the comfort and there's no fear. And my personality is well suited for heavy things for some reason.
Yeah, you said the other realm. It's something for me. I never thought about it, but I had a guest speaker on and we were talking about it, but I've learned I'm more in tune to it now. Like, I bet there is, because what they were saying is you could be in the realm, it's a lower frequency,
Mhm.
or you can make your decision to go, I guess, into the light if that's what you decide.
Mhm.
But, if somebody is exiting because, let's just say, they don't want to feel pain anymore, they want to go, but they're not going to the light, they can still feel pain, is what I understand being in this realm.
Yeah, so when it's your time to go, because pretty much once you disincorporate, your energy, your spirit, your soul has like 7 days, or in some cultures, I think in Russia they say 30 or some other places. But a lot of people they agree on about 7 days before you actually move on up to the next.
Gotcha.
And that's why when they do their goodbye tour, as they call it, like they pop it on their relatives and say, "Hey," like my grandma, as soon as she passed, came and was like, "You're not gonna make it in time." Like told me I was gonna like I wasn't because I was literally booking my plane ticket to go see her
Yeah.
when she passed. But they have the little goodbye tour and then you move on up. But if you don't, because you're right, you're in the wrong vibration. And it
Yeah.
actually is really uncomfortable. So that is one reason why when I'm speaking with ghosts, I don't talk to them before I alley-oop them.
Yeah.
I help them into the light and then I reconnect with them afterwards if we need to have a conversation.
But once they go to the light, they're
Oh, yeah.
there. They're happy they're
Yep.
there. So, and it takes it away. But if they feel stuck, they will reach out to people
Mhm.
and, hey, everybody, I go to church. I believe in God. But I also know this stuff does happen. So, I mean, it's just you've got to be, I'm awake. That's the term they use.
Mhm.
So I know that this can happen. It doesn't happen all the time, but when it does, if you're able to help and use what you learned from
Mhm.
knowing who God is and help move them to the light, and that's a
Well,
good thing.
and you know what? Honestly, sending the ghost through, it really is about your connection to God.
Hmm.
Anyone can actually send ghosts up or help them go into the light, but it's not because it's your power. It's understanding that all you have to do is ask God to send them up and they'll be sent up.
That's good. I feel like because it's happened to me only once, I
Mhm.
felt like they wanted to be heard.
Yeah.
Like there was a story behind it. Like I think she was saying her husband, nobody knows how she died, and she just wanted to be heard. But like
Mhm.
you go, why is this happening to me? I don't do drugs. I'm not drinking. This is really happening. It's been over a month. Whoa, okay, this is weird. And then people will go, I love how they judge people. Like, oh, you just have this mental condition. It's like, no, I
Mhm.
don't. Like, this is just, I call it a gift. Unfortunately, if I can help in any way I can,
Mhm.
I'm gonna help. So, but it's good to hear from when other people go through this as well. We're here to help in many different areas. It's not just this big world we live in. Have you ever seen that show Under the Dome? It
No.
came out a long time ago, but it was so interesting. I wish it would come back out because they were literally in this bubble and had to learn how to live again under different rules and stuff and different things that would change. But, it kind of said, if you were going to go on the outside of this dome, you're going to be stuck in another world, as you say, and you got to learn that one too. So, and I had another guest speaker on here. He's like, "You've been here 28 times." I was like, 28? I didn't know we had so many times to come back and forth.
We do.
I know, right? I'll learn it next time. That's what I say. So, but definitely. So, are you on Facebook and Twitter also where they can find you?
Yeah, I am on Facebook. And again, everything's under House of Kellen, all of my things. And it's again Kellen.
Uh-huh.
Because some people try to spell it with a C. But yeah, I'm on Facebook. I have a Facebook page, personal page. I am on TikTok. But the TikTok's a little bit saucy. We can talk about that later. And I do Instagram. Which other ones am I doing? Yeah. And
Mhm.
also I am on whatchamacallit, YouTube a little bit. I'm lazy with my
Yes.
YouTube though.
It's so funny. We get lazy with different social medias. Like, LinkedIn is supposed to be the new biggest thing in 2024. It's a big thing now, but like they're talking about it being the powerhouse too.
Well,
So I'm trying to
I'm
learn
on.
that. I'm learning AI marketing right now.
Mhm.
I'm teaching myself that because that is going to be the newest thing. But TikTok, that was a decision maker. Like, they're like, if you have a podcast, you have to have a TikTok. I had to go to my 11-year-old and go, how does mommy look pretty in these? Like, what's the filter I use? And then they were giving me crash courses on hashtags. I was like, okay, this is coming from the younger generation. And you know what? I do that. And then with the training I get in the everyday,
Mhm.
how to do things, it's going to be less hashtags that are going to get you seen more, not having a whole load of hashtags on one post. So it's different things like that that you have to learn. So,
And with LinkedIn, I think part of the reason it's getting bigger is because it's way more friendly to the woo. Because I've been on LinkedIn since I don't know 2012 or I don't know a while, like years,
yeah,
and it's just now feels like it's a more environment for it. People are more receptive to the messages I've been saying this whole time.
yeah, yeah. I see LinkedIn and Alignable, I think is the name. They
Yep.
almost feel the
Oh, that one
same
too.
to me. I just feel like maybe they should just make it a whole. I'm sorry. Think about it, guys. Put it as a whole because they are really striving on those networking connections, which is
Mhm.
amazing. And then doing the private groups, which is also amazing. I was always a fan of meetup.com. I've been an organizer for their meetups. Alignable kind of offers the same thing, but then Lincoln will talk about it. And then you see Facebook. Hey, do you have a group? Do you want to host an event? What do you want to do here? So you kind of learn as you go. But we need one source. And I think that's what the AI is going to do.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that new app that's supposed to bring everything in together to make it easy. I can't talk easy advertising. It's a new word, easy.
Yeah.
But
I know.
definitely.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I don't worry
So,
about making all of the things work at the same time. So I
mhm.
do a thing where like I intuitively connect and I'm just like, hey creator, hey God, what platform should I work on today? Because for me, I do a lot of slow marketing where I'm like, oh, I've got one person, I've got one person. So,
Yeah. I say God hands me my clients, and that's been true with my
mhm.
photography company. There's something about paying for advertising that just throws me off. Not everybody else. You can pay for as much
Mhm.
advertising, but like when I make one-on-one connections and talk to people face to face, they get to know me. They get to know my energy. If they want to
Mhm.
recommend me, great. If they want to see my portfolio, that's fine. It's out on a website. You can see the work I've done, but I think it's more based on one-on-one. So
Okay.
now also I'm trying to see, I mean, you've been doing all the reading for over 25 years, so that's a long time, and that's good. You're well experienced. Have you ever done like events for corporations or anything like that?
Yeah, a few. When I was in San Francisco, I did like some, like I did a
Hmm.
Secretary's Appreciation Day. I got to work a birthday party in a mansion. I
Oh,
do,
nice.
I love doing readings at events. I love doing public readings. Like, I'll never give it up because it's such a fun way to connect to people.
It is. It really
Absolutely.
is. Yeah. And I mean, it's fun to hear it. Now, I think, yes, readings are usually done at a table. You got to focus, but I don't know if they do strolling readings. Like you have your strolling magician who will just walk the
Oh,
crowd, but I think readers could probably do that too. And whatever energy you pick up on, hey, I'm gonna just tell you something fun. I was just like, that would be so cool to have an event.
I actually do that with runes. Sometime I rock around with a bag of runes. I'm like, hey, do you want to take a rune? And I'll just read that one rune in their palm because you can get a lot of information out of one. So I've done it that style too.
Oh, you did? That's cool. That's cool. So which one do you get more? Is it birthday parties, corporate, or weddings?
I think birthday parties is what I've done the most of, or yeah, and
And
graduation
then the
parties.
holidays probably. Do you get
Yeah,
booked a lot for October?
not lately. Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
what did I have
But
before? Yeah. Mhm.
I gotcha. But also, one more question. As you do the pet stuff, have you
Mhm.
ever worked with the adoption agencies before people would actually try to adopt the pet?
With a rescue agency. I had a client or a theta healing student who every time that they were bringing a new one over because they'd rescue them from I think Vietnam and find them homes in the US. So when they were in that intermediate stage, she would actually like she'd have her list of like the 8 dogs you're going to work on that day, and we just like go through them and just send as much healing to each one and like reset all of them and
Oh,
help them come into their new home.
you see, and with the dogs, it's like I always say, I have one question. We met after Allen here in Texas. They had a shooting at the outlet mall, and it closed down for a while. But when they reopened, they had a tent with, I forgot the name of the corporation, but it was all comfort
Oh.
healing dogs. And I loved it. But Liam, my son, was so connected, like to this one dog. It was just like the power. And I think his name is Elijah, the healing
Mhm.
dog. And he has a Facebook page. And I was just like, it's so cute. But when they go around to the hospitals and stuff and giving that encouragement, dogs,
Mhm.
they can sense they can help heal too. I think that people just they don't look too much into that part of it too. And I think the dogs want to come out and say, hey, you know what? If you play more ball with me, I'll show you my more capabilities I have. Is that a true thing?
It
If you
is.
take me on a walk.
No, well, our pets, I mean, they're gonna heal whoever they're drawn to. They will
Yes.
just take it on and take it on, which is another thing I do with pets is I actually release everything they've taken on from the humans
Yes.
so that way
Yeah.
that they can stay nice and healthy for a long time. And actually, we've been able to extend some dogs' lives beyond where we thought. We're like before the healing, if you look at like their life expectancy, and then we just keep healing them, and then they're healing the human and we're healing the dog. And I've seen dogs last years beyond what their breed is supposed to.
That's cool. That's really cool. Now you said going to dogs. Okay, this is really my last question. Helping people find their soulmates. How does that work?
Hmm?
If you said helping people find soulmates,
I do help people find their soulmates.
how do
What
you
I
do
do,
that?
okay, well, first of all, when the intake, we have to see where you're at, right? Because in order to call in a soulmate, especially the right type of soulmate, because there's seven different kinds and not all your soulmates you get to keep, because soulmates are just incompatible. And that
Gotcha.
the, so to help people find their most compatible lifetime partner, um,
Mm-hmm.
first they have to love themselves, and then you have to make sure that you've released all the shock and trauma, like all the nasty stuff from the past. And then
Mm-hmm.
once I feel like we're in a good state to call them in, we
Yep.
build this and we meditate together and we call them in. And the thing that's harsh about this that people don't always like is like some people come to me and they're ready. We do one session, they meet their soulmate 3 months later. I've had that happen a few times. But some people, like you said, we think patients, we think we're ready. Sometimes you need like 4 or 5 sessions and to do some deep healing before you're ready to
Yeah.
call them
Yeah. Yeah,
in. And
definitely. So, but definitely finding yourself and taking past traumas is very important. So, for people that have thought they were with a soulmate and they got burned, you got to
Mhm.
start that process all over again. That is important. That's where patient comes in. But breathe in. When you're ready, we call you.
Mhm.
And we can start bringing this in. I was like, I feel like Jennifer Lopez, the wedding planner movie. I was like, what is it going to take? Everything is so routine and I do everything to have to wear heels and cross the street and fall down and have a good looking guy save me. So I was just like, what is it going to take to find my soulmate? And then I hear stories like, I met my soulmate. I couldn't reach cookies on the top level of this grocery store, and they helped me, and it's been love ever since. And it could be the simplest thing. But don't get confused. I say people get drawn to people's energy too. And it could be for a good reason. It also could be for a bad reason. And you just got to know your boundaries and know how to read that. So that's what I want to tell my guests. So, but you're like, yep.
Yep. That's why we do the work, because like you can take someone as they are and call in a soulmate now with exactly where they are, but you're going to get a soulmate who matches you now with the things that are unhealed, and maybe you can heal together. But I think it's much kinder on our hearts to heal first
Yes.
and then call in someone who is also healed.
Yes, that is very, very important.
Yeah.
So, oh my gosh, I've learned so much from you today. I really appreciate you coming on to keep hope alive and sharing your knowledge with everybody because it's just so important with the show. I want everybody to be heard, but I want to ask the questions that people may ask you too. It's like they probably want to know, I find my soulmate and bring my dog with the same one? How much are you going to charge? People are always going to have questions like that there. But that I list her link and you can send her an email questions and all that. But I want to say thank you to you for coming on. I also want to thank our sponsors today, which would be really quick, lifeonrecord.com, your interactive guest book. We have partytimetexas.com, your one source to find all your event needs, whether it's DJs, bands, caterers, venues, the list goes on. You can reach out to them also. We also have Bridal Shows Inc in the Dallas Fort Worth area. If you're planning an event, you can go there and see when they have their different bridal shows. But going and meeting the different vendors is always fun. Seeing their fashion shows is very informational and great. Then we have Miles for Smiles. She's an investigator, and I like to call her a profile reader because Deborah, that's what you do. She does the handwriting analysis and the lipstick readings, and she's amazing. She's accurate. She's bringing this more into the wedding industry right now, too. She's creating some new ideas, but you can find her information at deborarose.com. Then we've got the magical Mr. Bryce Harney, who is traveling across the states doing his magic shows, and he's a mentalist too, I guess mind reader. I love that, and he's really good, amazing work. Our last sponsor would be richmondpunch.net. He is a violinist. He is so good. He's been doing this for so many years. He's been in TV shows, also some movies, but performing in front of millions of people. His work it touches your heart. I gotta get some postings out there on my website of his work and playing too. But definitely, if you would like to be a guest on Keep Hope Alive podcast, you can email us at Nadine at keephopealivepodcast.com. So a lot of information. You can find our podcast wherever you find your podcast. So, but other than that, thank you. And then until our next show, I welcome everybody back. And it's Thanksgiving week, and we're going to do many more shows, but I'm telling everybody on this one, happy Thanksgiving. All right. Bye. Love and light. Mwah.